Hello everyone, this is Mickey with Hills Mill Homestead. Today I'm out here in the shade house, and I'd like to say that the portion of this content is sponsored by Vego Garden Bed. They reached out to us. They know that I do a lot of raised bed gardening, a lot of container gardening, and they wanted to send this elevated bed for me to do a complete review. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to open this box. I'm going to lay everything out, show you how easy it is to assemble, and once I get it put together, I'm going to go over the benefits of the elevated bed versus the different type of raised beds that I have. And so you're going to find a lot of this information helpful, especially if you grow your garden in a raised bed or containers. So stay with me. Let me open this box and I'm going to get started. Well, here we are. I've got it unboxed, and as you can see, everything laid out, and each piece is labeled. All of the nuts and bolts are labeled with different numbers and letters. I have looked through the instruction booklet, and I'm going to tell you it's pretty simple. Just follow step by step, and that's what I'm about to do now that I've got it laid out. I'm going to go ahead and get this Vego bed assembled and give you the complete review of my opinion of the Vego bed. But I will say this, the casters are optional. I did decide to order those because I'm going to move this bed at some point until I find its permanent home. But let me tell you this, as someone who ships a lot of different products from my website hillsmill.com, I know a little bit about shipping, and I'm going to just tell you from the start, I am impressed with Vego Garden elevated bed. The way it's packed, it is just the neatest thing I've ever seen. It's very stable, it's comes in a big box. It's heavy, but it's very stable. So I really appreciate the fact that this company takes a lot of effort in their shipping. They could just throw it together and ship it and be done since they've collected their money. But Vego Garden, I'm going to have to give them a big thumbs up, A+ on their shipping. Now, the other thing that I'm very impressed about is this booklet. Just look through this booklet. It has everything step by step. Very simple to read. Very simple to follow along with. Start with number 1 and continue. So that's where we're at. I've got everything ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and assemble this bed, and stay with me and let's see what the results are going to be once I get this put together. As you can see, I'm still assembling the Vego Garden bed, and I'm going to talk a little more about the quality. I'm pretty handy. I've done a lot of construction, commercial, residential, so I know a little bit about quality as far as material. I want to give Vego Garden an A+ for their quality in the material. There's no sharp edges where there's screw holes. The edges of all the beds, there's no little burrs you get cut with. A lot of times when you're dealing with metal, there's going to be burrs that will actually cut you pretty good if you're not careful. I've not run across that one time. A+ Vego Garden bed. So I'm going to continue assembling this, and keep in mind, following the instructions, it does say that 2 people can do this in about 30-35 minutes or so, and I would agree with that 100%. But I'm doing this by myself, so it's taking a little bit longer. But think about this. This would be a great project for your young children, your grandchildren. Putting the bed together, and with an extra set of hands, even if they're not as big as an adult, it will make it go together easier. And I'm going to put these panels on and you'll see an example of what I'm speaking of. But I am really impressed with the quality. The paint, it looks like almost like it's been powder coated. I know that it is safe to grow in. No chemicals that's going to be harmful, and that is always a great thing when you're growing your own food. And especially if you're trying to do raised bed gardens, maybe the Vego garden, you can control the soil that is in your raised bed, and that's just going to give you a better production of your fruits and vegetables, and it's going to have a better quality, and it's definitely going to have a better taste than what you can find in a grocery store. So let's put this next panel on. I have found it very simple following the instructions. Just pay attention to detail. A lot of times there's going to be an extra hole, and it directs you which direction that hole needs to go. But it's really not that difficult to put this together. You don't want to tighten these up yet, not until you get the complete bed assembled, and that way there could be some adjustments and you don't have to worry about it not adjusting itself to the proper place. Next panel, maybe a little bit close to the camera here. It gives you the detail of each bolt and each nut, where to properly use those, and it makes a difference. You want these rounded nuts that go on the top two screws. That way, if you're reaching into your bed, you're not going to have to worry about getting cut on the edge of a bolt or a nut. Now in the instructions, it shows a diagram to show this bed in the upper position, or this is down, the legs are up when you're putting these sides on. But I found it easier working by myself if I just turn this sideways. Now by following the instructions, when you attach these three, you go ahead and tighten those. That's pretty tight. Okay, now I'm ready to set it up. That's looking good. All right, on to the next step. Well, now I flipped the Vego garden bed upright. I'm installing the inner rails, and this is the last rail of the top, and out of every hole, every bolt, every nut, there's not even been one that was misaligned. Now that's quality. But this is going to be the last rail. Gonna get everything lined up. I'm gonna put the bottom in it, and then I'm gonna tighten everything up just like the instructions says. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you'll follow those instructions step by step, this is very easy to do. Very easy assembly. That is every nut and bolt and every one lined up perfect. Now I do have a cordless drill that I'm using, but let me tell you this, you don't want to strip any of these bolts if you've got a very strong drill, so make sure you put it down on the slow speed. But I still don't torque them all that it take, but I just make sure they're snug. And I'm ready to put in the bottom. We're going to put the edge around the top. That is one great thing about the rounded edges. You don't have to worry about running into a corner with your hip. We all know what that feels like. But I do love the fact that the edges are rounded. There's no sharp edges even with the metal, yet we have a gasket we're going to put on top of this just for extra protection. Well, now I'm installing the bottom of the corrugated metal, and I can emphasize again, follow directions. Every piece is labeled. Follow the instructions, and it's very simple to put together. Even your edges overlap. They have a V groove in every other one for easy assembly. One fits right over the top of the other one. All holes are lined up correctly. Perfect. Now I'm just going to add the screws, and then I'm going to tighten it up, and then I've got to put the racks in the bottom, which I'll film that. That should be pretty simple. I'm ready to fill this thing up and get planted. Also, if you have a T35 bit, it works excellent with these screws. They do provide a couple of little tools that you can use, but if you have your own screwdriver and a T35, it's much more simple. Simple equals easier. But I like to get those started, and then I'll come back with my drill and I'll tighten them up. I don't like to use a drill to get a screw started because a lot of times that'll mess you up. You get one cross threaded. Now I'm going to tighten all these up, and I'm through with putting down the corrugated metal. And that is the bottom. Now I'm going to put in the lower rack, and I'm ready to fill this thing up. Well, here we are, my most favorite part. I'm going to fill up this raised bed with my compost, but first I wanted to give you a little tip. I add about an inch of this mini pine bark nuggets to the bottom just to retain moisture. It's an elevated bed, so it's going to dry out just a little bit faster than if it was touching the ground. So I don't want it to be wet all the time, but I do want it to retain some moisture in the bottom. You know, there's this old saying that if you're not careful, you'll love your plants to death. overwatering can be a big issue on whatever you're growing. So you just really got to be careful to not overwater. So I've got maybe a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch in the bottom of that. Now I'm going to fill it up with all of my compost. That's some good compost when you can scoop it. How many wheelbarrows do you think it's going to take? I'm going to guesstimate 4. You see these white specks that I've added to the compost? That's my perlite. The reason for that is I don't want to have compacted soil, so it's also going to keep it from being completely compacted, and it's going to allow for better drainage. So I've added the perlite. I add it to every wheelbarrow load. Wait till you see what I'm going to plant. I haven't seen anyone else plant in the Vego raised bed what I'm about to plant. So you just stick around. Let me get this thing filled up, and I'm going to show you. And by the way, I really appreciate everyone watching. I appreciate all of our subscribers. If you're new to the channel, I'd like to welcome you aboard and subscribe. Hills Mill Homestead. Hit the thumbs up, share, hit that notification. We do a lot of raised bed gardening here at the mill. So I have quite a bit of experience with raised beds. And not only that, but I'm older than Google. So I have an edge on gardening. I've been gardening for several decades. So if you follow along the channel, you'll pick up everything that I do and show you the success that I have in all of my plants. I have no issue with sharing everything that I know, and hopefully you'll be able to grow better plants, get better quality food, try to get away from chemicals, and save money. Oh my gosh. Every time I go to the grocery store, I get a shock. But growing your own vegetables, just the nutrition value alone is worth it. But think about all the money that you're going to save instead of having to go to a grocery store and buy it off the shelf. Once I get it filled up, I'm going to water it in, let it settle, and then I'm about to plant. Well, that's the first wheelbarrow. Time to go get another load. Be right back. Well, here I am with the second wheelbarrow load. Before I get started emptying this one into the Vego bed, I'd like to say that I believe in the future that your new condos and apartment complexes, they're going to have some sort of a Vego garden system on their balconies as a bonus for growing your own food. These are just so convenient. If you are not a gardener and you've always wanted to grow your own food, I would suggest to look at vegogarden.com. They have many different types to choose from. They have a lot of different products, and I can tell you from experience already of putting this one together that it is good quality product. So now I'm going to get ready, get the second wheelbarrow load in here, and see how many more it's going to take. That's 2 wheelbarrows. When I get this thing completely filled up, you're going to have a grand idea of what it's going to cost if you're having to purchase the potting soil. You're going to know how much you're going to need. This is the second wheelbarrow. This is your average garden wheelbarrow. So I'm going to get another wheelbarrow load. Going to continue to fill it up. Stay tuned. Wheelbarrow load number 3. After I get this put into the Vego Garden bed, I'm going to get another wheelbarrow load, and we're going to see how many wheelbarrow loads it takes to fill this raised bed. Stay with me. Well, 3 has gotten really close. I'm going to go get at least another half a wheelbarrow to top it off. Then I'm going to water it in and let it settle before I plant it. Well, there you have it. 3.5 wheelbarrows to completely fill this 2x8 elevated garden bed from Vego Garden. So I'm going to plant some wave petunias in the front. Now those are heavy feeders for nitrogen. So also I'm going to plant something that you don't see very often. This is a trio of beans. Green beans, purple green beans, and the wax green beans. So I think that's going to be pretty unique, being able to just stand here and pick beans. Now that if you picked a lot of beans in your time, you know that it can be time consuming and it can be back breaking as well. So once again, I'd like to thank Vego Garden for sponsoring this content. If you're interested in any of their supplies, any of their raised beds, all of their products, visit vegogarden.com. There's going to be an affiliate link in the description of this video. If you want to make a purchase, you can go through my link and save money. Everything's about saving money. You're going to save money from the vegetables that you're going to grow in this raised bed. Not only saving money, better quality, it's going to be more nutritious. You know how it's been grown. You know whether or not it has a lot of chemicals mixed with it. You know whether or not it's going to be good for you. So I would encourage you, if you want to, if you're not even a gardener and you want to get started, the raised beds that Vego Garden offers, that is a absolute best way to get started. You don't even have to be a property owner. You can do these raised beds if you're renting, leasing. You can do these raised beds whenever you do move. Take the beds with you. These are going to last 20 years. That's a really great warranty for the paint that's on these. And once again, it is food grade safe, 100%. I just can't say enough about this raised bed. So I'm going to get started planting everything that I'm going to put in this bed. Follow along with us for an update that's going to be coming out very soon with this. If you're interested in raised beds, I have a playlist of raised bed gardens. You can look at the different types that I use. I think now I'm using about 5 different types of a raised bed garden, and check it out. I'm sure there's one that will be great for you. I really appreciate the time that you spent watching this video. I hope it's been helpful as far as assembling the Vego raised garden bed, and I hope that everybody is having a great day. Let's get growing, and stay tuned. Click the notification. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our channel and stay with us on the update that's going to be coming out, plus all the other things I've got going on here at the mill. So stay with us, and we'll see you on the very next video. Thank you for watching.